it's Jodie and welcome to a new video. So I'm going to be filming a wrap up, and if you can see this huge stack behind me, then you can tell I had a very good reading month in March. Like, I literally don't know how I did this. I've been in a reading slump for the past like 6 to 10 months, let's say. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I just have not been reading much or like enjoying a lot of books I've been picking up, and I don't know what it is. Like, I honestly just have sucked at reading basically, but I feel like manga's definitely helping with that. And also I did do a reading challenge this month and it was very successful, my most successful one yet. If you haven't watched the video, then I will link up here and down below. I'm super proud of that video. I read over 20 books in 24 hours, not in the space of a day. I timed 24 hours of reading on my phone to see how much reading I could actually do when I did actually read for a full 24 hours. So a lot of that is from there. I also had some time off. I went away and I was just really relaxed and got lots of reading done. So it was a very good month, and I just feel so happy because I did read so many good books during March. So if you like to see all of the books that I did read in March, then please keep watching. So yeah, March, excellent reading month. My brain though, not so much. Like, some of these books took a toll on me, destroyed me, mind, body, spirit, and everything is just gone. Brain cells, hardly any left, honestly. So yeah, let's just get into it. So I'm not going to go in any particular order, but let's just grab the manga off the top, and I'll do the manga last because, as you can see, I read a lot of manga in March. I read an entire series in March, so that's why. And then these are the actual books that I read, which is really good for me that I read this many books. So I did read City of Thorns during March. I can't remember if I originally started this in March or if it was in February, but I think I did start this at the beginning of March. This one is by C.N. Crawford. This is a fantasy romance, and it's basically about this demon and this human, and in this world humans and demons coexist. There is this demon city called City of Thorns where a big portion of the book takes place, and we are basically following our main character who is trying to figure out who murdered her mother, and she believes it was a demon who resides in the City of Thorns, and she is trying everything she can to get into this city. However, it's very hard. You can only get in there if you're like a student, and it's impossible to get in the university and far too expensive. So she needs to try and come up with a way of getting in there, and this is what she's been trying to accomplish by saving loads of money to do that. And then one night this demon lord comes and kidnaps her because he thinks she is this succubus who he wants revenge on. And then they realise she's a doppelganger, and they hatch a plan together for both of them to be able to enact a revenge. So she is now in the City of Thorns working with this demon. They definitely become cozy with one another. A romance starts to ensue. There's a murder mystery element. Really cool world building and just quite funny kind of interactions with characters, and the main character is just like a badass. Like, I just love her. There's so much character development in this book, which I really liked, and overall it was just a really fun read. I flew through this. I read like 100 pages of it at the start of the month and then finished the remaining pages once I was doing my reading challenge, and I just really enjoyed it. I'm so excited to read the second book because this ends on a huge cliffhanger. But I just loved everything that this book did, like, because it had so many elements of fantasy romance, of good world building, of a murder mystery, and just really good kind of like pacing and character development and things. I just felt like it deserved 5 stars. It was a low 5 stars, but because of how it ended as well, I couldn't give it anything less than that. I would definitely recommend this if you do like fantasy romance, or you're just looking for a really fun series. I don't know how many are in this. I have the second book, but I just am so excited. Like, honestly, I feel like it's gonna really be so tense in the second book and so much more action. There was a really cool scene in here which was like a set of trials, and it's very like Hunger Games-esque, so if you're into that kind of thing as well, then you would like this book. But yeah, I did give this 5 stars. Then we have this retelling, which is a Spindle Splintered by Alex E. Harrow. This has lots of good representation in it, and it also was just like a really unique retelling. So this is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty, and there are many variations of Sleeping Beauty, and the original tale is very dark, very disgusting, misogynistic, and just vile in every sense of the word. If you know, then you know. And basically what this story does is it touches upon every variation of Sleeping Beauty, but then it makes it its own story, and it does something really good with it. It makes it feminist. It makes it really like not nice. Like, it points out the dark parts of the tale, but then it also makes it into something kind of nice. Like, there's kind of a nice ending with this one, and it was very wholesome. It focuses a lot on female friendships, female power, and just like womanhood and forming bonds with women, working with women to achieve things, and just like how women are just girl bosses, and you know, you can girl boss by yourself, but you can girl boss even better with another girl boss. Like, you know, it's that sort of thing. It's really, really good. It was also very funny at times. Like, this is a book that is so silly that it's good. And the main character, like, her inner, like, dialogue is basically like her taking the power of it and recognizing how silly it is, which just made it all the more entertaining. Like, I just really, really enjoyed it. I loved the humor in here. I loved the spin on the original tale, and I liked how this still takes place like in the modern world, but our main character gets sucked into this fairy tale place where she is basically dying, and she hopes when she goes to this fairy tale place and meets another sleeping beauty, that her and this other sleeping beauty can work together to break their curses. And it's just such a good story. Like, I just really enjoyed it. It was really fun, and I like the world building. There's elements of sci-fi in here which I was not expecting, and it was just so silly. Like, I just loved it. I did not expect it to like this as much as I did, so I gave it 4 stars, and I would definitely recommend it if you do like retellings. So next we have this non-fiction. I've touched upon this in my reading challenge and my other recent vlog, which I don't know is going up before or after this one, but I read this when I went to a reading retreat at a library. I stayed over at a library for 3 days. It was incredible. There is a vlog, like I said, I don't know if it's up yet, but I absolutely love that vlog. It's just full of dark academia vibes, just cozy reading vibes. It was so good. I was so at peace there, and I did read this book. I start and finish this book in one sitting, essentially. I don't know whether the lighting's gone really dark all of a sudden. I'm sorry, I think the sun's just gone behind a cloud. But yeah, anyways, I took this with me on a whim, and I got sent this by the publisher around a year ago, maybe a bit less, whenever it first published. And I originally requested it because I heard that Namjoon from BTS had read this and really enjoyed it. So I requested it from the publisher, and sadly just didn't get around to reading it. I think because it's non-fiction, I have to be in the mood, and I don't read a lot of non-fiction. But this one I wanted to give a go because this focuses on mental health. And basically this book follows our author and her psychiatrist, and we're following conversations that they have. These conversations cover a huge range of different things, from being insecure, from jealousy, from anxiety to depression, all these different things. And I learned quite a lot from this book, and I also saw pieces of myself represented in this book that I never thought I would see before. So I really felt validated reading some parts of this. I feel like I actually got something out of this book, and that I saw parts of my own mental health experiences represented in here. I feel like because mental health is so incredibly different for every person, I do think it's hard to find books that represent it like accurately sometimes, or like to you specifically. And I've read books like Matt Haig's books to try and find that, and I did not enjoy them at all. I did not find them that relatable, whereas this one I related to a lot more. And I don't know if it's the formatting of it, but just specific things in here I just really liked, and it really resonated with me. And I hate saying that I enjoyed this because it is a book that's about depression, but I just thought it was so good. I enjoyed the formatting, and I just really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. It was just a really incredible piece of non-fiction. I would definitely recommend it. It is in a unique format, so as you can see, it's literally like our author and then the psychiatrist replying. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend this. Then next we have a poetry collection, which is Mary Oliver's New and Selected Poems Volume 1. I actually started this in 2021, and I was like 14 pages in and then just never picked it up again. I've read 1 or 2 of Mary Oliver's poetry collections before and really enjoyed them. My kind of poetry that I like is either poetry that I find relatable, or poetry that's beautiful, that is about nature and that sort of thing. And yeah, I'm very picky on poetry, and sometimes poetry I think can be very hard to understand, but Mary Oliver's poetry I would say is very accessible. I really enjoy her poetry. A lot of it is about nature and like her dog and things like that, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I decided randomly to pick it back up because I was just in the mood for some poetry, and I was reading some whilst a video was exporting just to pass the time, and then I'd read a huge chunk of it, and I finished the rest of it during my reading challenge. And I ended up giving this, I think, 4 stars, but it was more of like a 3.75 stars to be picky. I really liked this. There were so many poems I thought were just beautiful, very lyrical, either resonated with me or were just some poems about like the natural world that just really made me realize how incredible it is to live on this planet, how amazing nature is, the things that we take for granted every day and we might not see day to day as beautiful are beautiful, and just that life and death and everything in between is beautiful. That's what this definitely made me feel. The only kind of complaint I have with this is that the last 60 pages I did not really like. It was more poetry that read more like a biography and was more personal to the author, and because I couldn't relate to it and because I didn't really enjoy it or really understand what Mary Oliver was trying to say, I just didn't like that portion. But the first like 2/3 of this were just really incredible. I would definitely recommend Mary Oliver if you're looking to get into poetry and you don't necessarily want to read too much modern poetry, then this is definitely a good place to start. I just really enjoyed this collection and I'm really excited to read volume 2. I'm just glad that I finally finished it after like 3 years. So next we have this book, which is Emily Wild's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I've been reading this for a couple of months and I really did struggle with it. I had such high hopes for this book and unfortunately they just were not met for me. This is a cozy fantasy and I don't know if maybe it was the cozy fantasy element that didn't work for me, but I started listening to this on audio and at first I did not like the narrator, but once we got to about halfway in the book I really actually did start to like the narrator, and I don't know if it's because the pacing changed and it just got more exciting to rereading, but I started to enjoy it a lot more at the halfway point. I feel like the first half of this book is very dull and mundane. It's very, you know, going day to day and just setting up bits and pieces of the world, and I just kind of found it quite boring. Like nothing was really happening. I didn't really see a plot at all. I just saw like things that the author was experiencing, but once we got halfway and we also got introduced to some more characters, the humour picked up in it with the introduction of a specific character, then we had an actual plot point and I was like, okay, now I can see the direction where the story is going, what we are trying to accomplish with this book, like what the main character is trying to accomplish. That's when the story really took off and I did actually start to enjoy it. It was really fun. The pacing picked up, the world got more interesting, there was lots of action and our main character got more interesting. So this one I feel kind of harsh like rating it, but yeah, I gave it 3 stars and it was enjoyable the second half, but the first half I didn't really like, so I'm not too sure what to make of this. I think if I was physically reading it I would have DNF'd because I just would have been bored out my brain, but the audiobook was really fun in the end and I did like it, but it took another character being introduced to me to like it, which I feel like makes, I don't know if it's just my personal preference with the characters or what I was expecting from it, or that the main character for the first half of the book maybe wasn't written that well. I'm not too sure. It could be either or. I think this is a book that would be down to the individual reader, and I think maybe the reasons I didn't like it will be the reasons lots of people do like it. So yeah, I just felt like the first half was very flat, but as it went on it got more enjoyable, and yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. I don't really have any, to be honest. Yeah, no thoughts, just no thoughts really. So anyways, that's that book. Then we have these two who are both by Carissa Broadbent. So let's talk about this one first, which I'm sure you've seen everywhere and seen in my recent vlogs if you've been watching those. I loved this book. This is probably my favourite book of the year so far. This was an incredible fantasy romance. It could have been better, but it was still incredible. I gave it 5 stars, but it's not like the top end of 5 stars. Like A Call of Mist and Fury is 5 stars for me. That's like my all-time favourite book, and this isn't on the same level as that, but it is a 5-star read, if that makes sense. So I really enjoyed this. The world building was so well done and so unbelievably clever. The author basically uses a character, like a mythical goddess figure in here, and there's like a trial in here, and she uses the events of this goddess as the like things in the trial. It's kind of hard to explain without giving spoilers, but the way she did that and told the story of the goddess at the same time, as well as giving us the main plot and the experiences of the main character, was so clever. I loved it. The world building, incredible. It was very mythical and folklore-esque. It was just really cool. This is about vampires, and it's a whole different like kind of vampire. We have clans of vampires with wings and just vampires with all these different magical abilities, and I thought that was so good because this was definitely a new take on vampires, which I really liked. And in this book we basically follow this girl who's a human, and she is the adoptive daughter of the vampire king, and she enters this trial to try and win so she can ask the goddess Nyaxia for one blessing or wish, if you will, to become a vampire essentially. And she also kind of wants revenge at the same time from the vampires who murdered her human family. So yeah, that's basically the plot, and it starts straight away. We get straight into the action. Our main character's thrown straight into this trial. It's dark, it's gruesome, and like there's some things that happen in this book straight away, and I was like, I was not expecting it to be this tense this soon. So yeah, our main character really does go through it, but I love this. We have a slow burn romance, which I really liked. We also have just a really cool and I would say very complex main character who's having a lot of inner battles and contradictions. And I would say our main character is also naive at times as well. So there was a lot of different relationships that were displayed very well in here. I loved how the characters interacted with one another, and the pacing of this book, the action, the fight scenes were so well done. And the world building, I think, is just my favourite part of this book. Like, it was just so incredibly well done. Like, I honestly, like 5 out of 5 stars absolutely for the world building. And yeah, this book is just so good, guys. Like, honestly, worth the hype. Would definitely recommend it. It's basically the Hunger Games meets From Blood and Ash and a bit of King of Battle and Blood. There's not a lot of spiciness in here. There's a little bit of spice towards the end, but not much. But honestly, it's just amazing. Go and read this book. If you were thinking about reading it, do it. Incredible. 5 out of 5 stars. Favorite book of the year so far, and I cannot wait for the sequel, which does come out really soon. There is also a reading vlog of this book filled with spoilers over on my Patreon. So if you did want to hear all my thoughts on like a spoilery vlog, then you can head to my Patreon, which is linked down below, to watch the reading vlog for this book. Okay, and then we have this book, which is the last actual book for this wrap up, which is Daughter of No Worlds by the same author, Carissa Broadbent. This is the first book in the War of the Lost Hearts series, which is a trilogy. I don't know if it's staying as a trilogy or there'll be another one, but this one I gave 4 stars, and I have very mixed feelings about this book, to be honest. Like, it took me weeks to read this, which is not good, but the book wasn't bad. The main issue was that I went into this book with extremely high expectations. I finished Serpent and the Wings of Night. I didn't want to go into a book hangover, so I thought reading a book by the same author would help. And I think because Serpent and the Wings of Night was so incredible, this one just didn't hit the same for me. I was expecting the same thing from this and the same kind of world building and characters, and I didn't get that. And I also think just because the hype generally around this book is so much, and it being compared to Throne of Glass, my expectations are like the highest they could possibly be, and I think that was really unfair on the author and this book. But alas, that's what I went into the book feeling like, and as a result I did not enjoy it as much. It kind of got a little bit boring in the middle for me, and I just did not love it as much as I thought I was going to. This book starts off following our main character, who is a slave, and she does have some form of magic, and she was ripped from her family. Her home was destroyed, like all of her friends and family in the village enslaved, and yeah, she is a slave working for this lord, and basically she has been saving up every penny for years and years to be able to buy her freedom. And when she finally does, something happens, I'm not going to say what, and yeah, then she ends up going to this other part of the world, which I cannot remember what it's called, where all the magic like wielders are. I can't remember what she's called, like a specific name for like what she is, and there's like an order where they all kind of work and like use their magic and stuff. So she goes there because she wants to join it. She wants to be able to become powerful enough and to form an alliance with them to be able to rescue slaves, free her people, and yeah, that's essentially the plot. But we have a lot of things that happen in here. She meets this guy called Max, and he has an incredible backstory, which I did really like in here. And he reluctantly trains her, and they are living together in his little cottage, and he's very antisocial. He hates everyone, hates the world, and yeah, it's one of those. He hates everything and everyone except for her. Like, it's one of those, which I did like that trope. So we have them two working together. They're both kind of healing, working on themselves, and I feel like their relationships helps with that, which I really enjoyed and thought that was very well written. And yeah, the magic is really cool in here. We have various types of magic. It did get a little bit confusing at times, I will say, but overall I really enjoyed the world and the magic in here. But it was just the middle portion of the book got a little boring, a little bit lackluster, and I kind of lost sight of the plot. And then the main concept that happens, I would say, in the second act or third act of this book, the thing that makes our main character stronger, let's say, because I can't give spoilers, is not something I really liked. I did not like the element of this story, and it is like a main focal point for so many subplots as well, and like things that have happened to the characters. So because I didn't like that, I think that's another reason why this lost a star. And overall, just something about this just didn't keep me as enthralled as Serpent and the Wings of Night did. Like, I was so excited every time to pick that book back up, whereas this one I wasn't really. And yeah, I just feel like the pacing wasn't as good in this one. There wasn't as much cool quotes or like, I don't know, writing in this one as there was in Serpent and the Wings of Night. And the romance, although it was done well in terms of slow burn, I felt like there could have been more banter between them and a little bit more resistance between the romance. I feel like that would have made it a little bit better for me personally. But yeah, I still really, really enjoyed this. The main character is really, really cool, and like the magic in this world is really cool. And obviously the slow burn romance, I love that. So I would definitely say this is a really good fantasy romance series. The only comparison to Throne of Glass I could make was when Selena is basically kind of a slave as an assassin, and obviously when she gets sent to the salt mines, that's kind of like the only comparisons you could make. But besides that, I wouldn't really say there's a lot of comparisons to Throne of Glass for me personally with this at all. I can see why fans of Sarah J Maas would love this, definitely. Yeah, it's for fans of Sarah J Maas, but I wouldn't say there's a huge comparison between this and Throne of Glass personally. I don't really see it. But I did enjoy it, and I would say if you like Sarah J Maas's books, then you would like this. If you like fantasy romance books, you would like this. But besides that, yeah, that's kind of like how I feel about it. We'll definitely be continuing the series because I did still like it and I did still give it 4 stars, but I just have very kind of conflicting feelings about this book. So yeah, it was good. This one definitely slayed. This one didn't slay so much, so yeah. Okay, so now moving on to all of the manga that I read. So I think I read more manga than books this month. I read a lot of manga. I read 19 volumes of manga this month, which is a lot, and 8 of these I read back to back in one sitting, and I read an entire series as is right now. Like, there's gonna be more volumes, but I've read everything there is. So let's just get into it. I'm not gonna give a huge commentary on all of these because I've spoken about them in more detail in my 24-hour readathon vlog. I think is where I've spoken about a lot of these. But basically, I read the entire Chainsaw Man, I can't even pick these up properly, series. I read all 11 volumes of this manga series, and I read volumes 3 to 11 back to back, and oh my goodness, this put me through it. Like, literally my brain just, like, I still haven't emotionally recovered from this series, and oh my god, like, I want to sue for emotional damages. Like, this literally was traumatic. Like, honestly, the plot twists, and just, there's just no mercy. Like, this author has no mercy. Like, you literally just don't love anyone, guys. Like, don't have any favorite characters. Don't. Like, honestly, this series is just heartbreak. Like, I did not expect that. And yeah, I still don't know how to process this series, to be honest. I really, really liked it. I think I gave every single volume 4 stars, except for volume 10, I think it was. I gave 3 stars because I just felt like volume 10 and 11 were very rushed and got really, really confusing. So I didn't like them as much as the other volumes. But the characters in here are really cool, and just the whole thing is just very silly, but like dark and gory, and I don't know, it's just entertaining. Like, I just really, really like this series. I don't have words. I don't even know how to describe how I feel about Chainsaw Man, to be honest. But it's a 4-star series. It was really good. I love Power. She's my favorite. And I love Aki as well. But I just want to cry. Like, it's so annoying that I can't give spoilers. But, like, why? Like, why did you write this? Like, why did you do this? Like,
Why?
I'm just, yeah, I feel like I still am unhinged after reading this. Like, that's how I felt. And yeah, like, I'm just, yeah, I honestly just nothing to say except for pain. I am in pain from this series. Would recommend it though. If you're looking for a good manga series, this is it. I also read Spy X Family Volume 2. This was a really fun manga. I gave this 4 stars. This is just such a wholesome, funny, action-packed series. I've watched the anime, so I kind of know what goes on. I don't know if the anime or manga, like which one's ahead of each other. I think the manga is a bit ahead, but so far this is in line with what I've seen in the anime, and it's just really fun. I love Anya. She is a telepath and she is in this fake family. The acting mother is an assassin and the acting dad is a spy. The spy and assassin don't know each other's real identity, but Anya knows that they are both a spy and an assassin. They are faking a family to try and have Anya in this school to befriend this kid to get close to his father, who is the spy's target, basically. It's really funny, really entertaining. It's kind of got the found family trope in here, and it's really wholesome at times, and I just love Anya. Like, she's just so hilarious, and I've just never read anything like this before. I just really love it. So I definitely recommend this. If you're just looking for a super fun series, then this is definitely it. But I did give this 4 stars. Then next I read Harumiya Volume 5. This is a slice of life romance series. It's very cute. It's a high school romance, and I'm just really enjoying it. Like, it's just fun. I don't really have much else to say on it. I don't really think there is too much to say on it. It simply is just a slice of life, a romance manga that is cute. It's fun, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I read Volume 5. I think I gave this one 4 stars, I think. Then I read The Saviour's Book Cafe Story in Another World Volume 1. That is a mouthful. This is such a good manga. I absolutely adored this, and I would highly recommend it for all book lovers. This is a fantasy manga. Our main character is kind of thrown into this fantasy world, and she has magic powers now. She is a savior, and she has a cafe filled with books and tea and baked goods, and this guy comes who also loves books and reading. They develop like a friendship that's slowly, I think, becoming more. It's really cute and wholesome. It's very bookish, and I just love the vibes. Not a lot has really happened plot wise at the moment. It's just setting up the world and the character getting used to this new world she's in. So not a lot happens, but it's still so freaking good, and I loved it. It's basically described as a book lover's fantasy on the back. Definitely true. Absolutely adored it. Would definitely recommend. Such a cute manga, and I love the art style as well. Like, the food in here looks amazing. Okay, so then I did read Solo Leveling of volumes 5 and 6. 5 stars, of course. I am obsessed with Solo Leveling. It's one of my new favorite manga ever. I cannot wait for the anime to come out later this year. I am just obsessed. Like, honestly, these volumes were so good. I knew they'd be 5 stars. This one was so fun because it starts to focus on other characters in here, and we got panels from their points of view more, which I really liked. And yeah, I have no idea where the story's kind of heading, but I feel like it's setting up a lot of other plots to take place in the future volumes. Cannot wait. This is just such a good series, guys. Go and read it. It's actually a manhwa, I think is what it's called. It's like a Korean, I think, originally. Series that's translated into English quite recently. This literally just came out, but I absolutely love this series. If you're a gamer, you will like this. I'm not a gamer, but I still love this. It basically follows our main character who goes from the weakest hunter to the strongest, and about him leveling up in different ways, and it's just so good. Like, I love it. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about this loads because I've talked about these manga so much in so many videos now. Go and read this series, guys. Like, go and read it. It's so freaking good. Okay, and then the last book is this one, which is an omnibus, Attack on Titan. This was volumes 10, 11 and 12, so I read 3 volumes in here. I absolutely love this. I've given all of my Attack on Titan manga that I've read so far 4 stars because I was waiting for that one that had the 5-star feel. These volumes were it. They all got 5 stars because this is like in the anime where shit starts to hit the fan, where we get like that really cool plot twist, where we get the real plot point of the story very slightly starts. Like, everything starts setting in motion for what's to come, and there's just so many iconic scenes in this one and so many plot twists, and seeing it in the manga, incredible. Just so good. 5 stars. Absolutely love this series. I would definitely recommend it. It's just so good. It's basically about humans and titans, morality. There's also themes of racism in here, and it's just such a, like, I don't even know how you describe Attack on Titan, but it's good. It's good, guys. I would definitely recommend. Totally get the hype with this now. So glad I finally started to read it this year. And these were just the best volumes I've read so far. Absolutely loved volumes 10, 11 and 12. Just full of action, plot twists, the main characters going through it, and yeah, it's just so good. So I would definitely recommend this series. If you were thinking about reading it, do it. I just love it. But yes, that is all of the books that I read in March. I am absolutely just thrilled, to be honest, that I read this many books. I'm so proud of myself, and I just can't believe I finally had a good reading month. This is the first good reading month I've had in so long, and I'm just so happy. I hope it continues in April. I've decided not to really do TBRs anymore. I'm just gonna do like maybe like seasonal TBRs, or just like a TBR. It's like books I want to read soon, but isn't like an absolute TBR or a monthly one, because I just like having the freedom to just pick up whatever I'm feeling, because I'm definitely a mood reader, and I feel like that was another thing that really helped me read a lot this month, was not only reading lots of manga and doing reading challenges and having nice little retreats away where I was all relaxed, but having the freedom to just read what I want when I want definitely helped. So yeah, I am very, very happy with all the books I read. I read some really, really good books. I think most of these books were 4 or 5 stars, so that was amazing. So let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of the books I talked about, what your thoughts and ratings are on those books, and if you have any recommendations for me, please leave them below, whether it be books, whether it be manga, poetry, anything. Leave it down below, because I love getting recommendations from you guys. It's so fun. And yeah, if you made it to the end of this video, leave a... what do we want to leave in the comments? Leave a moon emoji, because I have moon earrings on, I have Sailor Moon t-shirt on, so leave a moon emoji in the comments. If you made it to the end of this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps my channel. It lets me know what videos you like, and I just love talking to you guys. If you are looking for extra exclusive content from me, you can find that on my Patreon. So you will find the Serpent and the Wings of Night reading vlog over on my Patreon. You will also find access to a monthly buddy read, a monthly readathon, our Discord, live shows, photos, extra videos, and lots more. It's all over on my Patreon, so if you are interested in any of that, you can head to the link down below. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you're all safe and well. I hope you're reading lots of good books, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!